That hat. Cool.
Well, good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the very first live stream on the Stanley Orchard YouTube channel here for 2021. Not only that, is the second episode of season 2 of our Outdoors live stream that we do here between our various channels here. I got everybody with us. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. I'm Steve from Haulin Ash.
I'm Grant McIntosh. Happy New Year.
John with A&J Outdoors. Welcome aboard, folks.
Gentlemen, it has been nearly a month since I have had the pleasure to say hello, to talk to you guys. It's been a busy holiday season. I appreciate y'all putting up with my inability to hang out and stuff like that. We all got all kinds of fun stories to talk about. But gentlemen, it's great to see you again. I apologize for missing out the last month. Happy holidays.
Welcome back, sir. It's good to have you back. We're missing a piece of the team.
And I appreciate that. It's been a hectic holiday season. Anybody else dealing with hectic holidays or now suffering the hangover of a hectic holiday season?
Ours went pretty smooth. Just had Christmas here at the house and didn't really go anywhere for New Year's either. So pretty calm, pretty relaxed.
Yep, same.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
just been
much.
hectic 8 months for us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are
You experienced 2020 in its full 2020-ness.
Yeah. I know I like to look back on 2020. I look at some of the crap and, well, this trip we couldn't go on and that trip we couldn't go on. But then I think of other folks that I know that the crap they've had to deal with is way worse than what we've had to deal with, and I just focus on, hey, I need to stay thankful for what I've got and how things are going for me. So, yeah.
And that's how I've tried to look at things too, try to look at the positive side of things. We still got our health and things we are thankful for.
I keep trying to force my way through. I keep trying to be like, nope, this 2020 stuff that everybody's talking about, I'm not saying that I'm not going to wear masks and do everything, I'm not going to be safe and do all of that stuff, but I'm going to persevere. I'm going to push through and I'm going to be like, nope, this is all just nonsense. It's a myth, not the virus so much, none of that, but the mindset behind it, like we can still push through, be positive. We can still go fishing. We can still do what we enjoy doing. And all of this negativity that surrounds it, I'm not going to subscribe to this. And yet every single time I feel like I'm the nail that's sticking up and just getting hammered down every time. It's 2021 now as well. We'll get into that in a bit here, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, be careful if you say it can only get better, because sometimes.
That's how I'm feeling right now. Yeah, like I keep trying. I keep trying to push through and be like super positive and like, oh, it's good. That's the last thing that's going to happen. But there keeps being another last thing that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, we got a good crew here in the chat. Let's say hi to everybody. Who all we got? There is. I'm going back all the way to the beginning. This is already a run of chats here. We got Mosier Boy, if you're still in the room. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you sharing this out. SPRO, Team Bass, mi amigos, ¿cómo está? Y feliz nuevo año. Mr. Brandon O'Neill, pleasure, sir. Appreciate you coming and hanging out. We got Mr. Nicholas Pouliot Outdoors. Aiden Ash, sir. Appreciate you coming and joining us. Peter, what's going on, man? I haven't even seen him since I think we got together for Christmas, and then my family decided to go on the nightmare trip that was Mexico. It wasn't a nightmare trip, but it ended up being kind of rough towards the end. Mr. Demi Hardoff, sir, appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, man. Who else we got here? Mr. Adam Mahara. John has quite the hat collection going back there. We need to get him a Stanley Orchard hat. As you guys can see, my associates down here, Mr. Haulin Ash and Grant McIntosh, are both sporting Stanley Orchard shirts. Gentlemen, thank you for that.
Fuck ups.
And we have the Goody Life Outdoors. Sir, appreciate you coming and joining us. So, in the chat down there, let us know how has your holiday season been going? What have we been missing out with you guys? And has it been as rough for you guys? Or am I the only one that's suffering through what has been a a rough end of the year. And while they're doing that, we also have Ava Ash. Hi there. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. So my story, to get things kicked off here, while we discuss our holiday season and getting 2021 started off on the right note, Rachel and I decided that we are going to end the year as we typically do. We are going to, on a whim, run down to Mexico. And we do this a lot. We've done this a half dozen times over the last 10 years. Rachel's amazing at finding like these just insane, you cannot pass up deals down to the Yucatan. And she found another one. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do it. It's been 2 years since we've done it. Let's hit it. Let's make this happen. This is a great way to end the year and an even better way to start the new year. And we run down there and we had an absolute blast. It was total fun. Enjoyed every minute of it, except for the part where the airline broke my computer, destroyed my 360 camera. Both of our phones got soaked. They got water hit, which I thought they were water resistant. Apparently, they're not water and moisture resistant. Those managed to survive, but that was a harrowing 24 hours in and of itself. I got a new job, which I still cannot talk about yet. I haven't signed paperwork on it. But then after doing that job for a week, I was then all of a sudden no longer able to do my job because the computer was gone, which is not a good look for somebody who's a week in. And to end the entire ordeal, we ended up getting stuck in Dallas for a day. Like they totally, I'm not even going to get into the story and the whole thing, but they totally boned the show on our flight home. They didn't give us enough time, like flat out did not give us enough time to get around the Dallas airport. If you've ever been there, that thing is massive. It's like the size of half a Corpus Christi or something like that. They gave us like 10 minutes to get through the entire airport. And we talked to them many hours in advance, tried to figure out a plan. And they're like, no, you got this. You can do this. And we get there and that next flight was delayed and we still were not able to do it. And then, of course, they're like, well, there's another flight, in a week. They were going to make us sit in Dallas for a week. When I'm like, no, they told us, well, we're not allowed to tell you to get a car, but you could drive it. We'll pay you back. That is all the things that are going to unfold under this upcoming series of videos that I've got coming up on Cozumel, if I'm able to get my footage, which we're missing a lot of because of that Rilo camera. So that was the end of my year.
For Stanley.
And there's Rachel.
Rachel.
There she is.
Well, that's too bad. It's unfortunate, but at least you got away, right? At least you got to go somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, that was on the way home.
What's that?
That was on the way home.
Getting stuck was on the way home. And we were trying to pull it off like, hey, we know there's going to be problems. There's obvious, like we could point out the issues on the whole deal when they started delaying flights. And so we called them up and like, dude, look, you guys got a winter storm hitting. You've delayed this flight indefinitely so far. Just let us stay here. We'll catch the next flight. Figure something out. Well, they were kind of like offering to pay. And so we mistakenly like opted for the expensive, like pay back your tickets. What we should have done is just said, dude, give me whatever ticket you want, pay for the hotel, and we're good to go. We made that mistake at the end of it. But we did talk to him for hours, prior to the flight, like I don't know, something like 6 or 8 hours before our flight. Like, dude, this is not going to happen. This flight isn't going to work. And they're like, no, you got this. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And it was not fine. This was like 2:00 in the morning.
The last time I flew was 97.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Damn.
Things
There
have
were,
changed.
Biplanes with props and shit back then.
When I started flying, they had just started kind of putting the TV screens in the back seats of chairs. And I noticed this is how things have come full circle for me. They had just started putting the TV screens in the back seat of chairs. Now they don't do that anymore. Now they have a little thing that folds down for you to put your phone on. They've gone full circle with it to where they don't even do screens for you to watch in-flight movies anymore.
Nice.
It was about a year ago that we flew to Hawaii before this whole thing hit, but it was a long flight for us from here to Hawaii. But they did have they had screens in the back of the seat, and I remember I watched about 3 different movies on the way out there.
Yeah.
past the time, but it was a long flight.
Stanley, I was going to ask. So was this affordable flight or affordable trip to Mexico as affordable as you thought it was going to be? Considering cameras, computers, and all the other.
No. However, I will say I'm fairly thrifty. The camera issue is going to cost me at best $250 to buy a new camera so that I can get that footage that I got from Mexico. That's how much my footage is going to cost me. That hurts, but that's, doable.
Yeah.
I am in the middle of negotiation. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I am in the middle of a heated discussion with American Airlines regarding how this whole thing needs to get relieved, remedied. And we were talking about it. They're actually being really cool about talking with me about this, but it looks like we're going to get that entire flight home refunded. So
and it should be.
And cool with them. I appreciate them doing that, but that will make it more affordable. Like that's worth having gone through all of that just to be able to be down there, because I swear, like I would move down there given the opportunity. I love it.
Well, we went to a Mexican restaurant Wednesday night, and the guy there is actually from Mexico. Not sure what part, but he was saying he's just saving up money so that he can retire back home in Mexico. I said, well, how much money would it take? He's like, man, if you can get down there with 100,000, he's like, you'll live like a millionaire.
I got stories about that. I did, Steve, you might be able to chime in on this. I'd like your 2 cents, but I did construction in Austin for 10 years, and we used these gentlemen from El Salvador, and they were our labor. They were our labor for all of the construction stuff that we did, and we paid them $11 an hour for 10 years. And there was 3 brothers, 2 sisters. They lived in like a 1-bedroom apartment in the worst part of town in Austin. And we were like, and eating peanut butter and jelly. I mean, they were just as cheap as they could get. And we were talking to them one day and like, what are you guys doing? You've been doing this forever and you're still, what's your plan? What's your game plan? And they're like, oh, we send all of our money back to mom. That's all the money. I'm like, dude, you're like in your 40s. What are you doing sending your money back to mom? What's going on? And he's like, well, we just need to finish building this 5th hotel and then we can retire. And and I've heard that story twice. That's another friend of ours, or my brother-in-law, was doing welding up in, he was welding deep freeze coolers up in Wisconsin. Had a gentleman he was working with, exact same story. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He was a welder making $27 an hour, but he did not spend a dime on anything. Same deal. He was building a hotel in Mexico. And after having built a couple of them, these little 6-8 rental unit hotels, that's it. He was done. He's retired at like 45.
Back about 2015, I took a job. Things were slow for me. So I took a job as a site superintendent, and we were building 40 homes down in Toledo, Ohio. And my part of the project was the framing. I was in charge of getting the houses framed. I had to have 2 houses and 2 garages framed every week. And those are all modular pieces that they brought in. Well, the crew that I had was 7 Mexicans right from Mexico. And that's what they did. They all lived together. We found a place for them to live together. They all lived together. And that's what they said is, they send everything home, to help their families out. And I had never been around. I live in a very small community here. I've never been around people who spoke Spanish. Is it? I never took Spanish in high school, but I said, you guys are going to have to teach me because I got to give my safety report every Monday, and I don't know how to speak Spanish, and I don't know if you understand English, but I have to give you the safety report every Monday. So I would, the one guy, his name was Hugo. I would speak what was on the paper to read to him, and then he would translate it to everybody else. Well, after a while, I started to learn something, not enough to be fluent, but enough to harass those guys a little bit, get the teasing back and forth.
That's the first thing that you learn, is the things to scream.
A bunch of guys, they worked their butts off, and we hit that quota every week. 2 houses, 2 garages framed. We got down there, and a couple of the guys, some of the other project managers said, are you guys going to be able to keep up? I mean, 2 houses, 2 garages every week? I says, these guys will work their butts off. And they did. We never missed a quota. Every week we hit it. So.
I got to say, when I was doing convenience store, general store stuff down here, when I was a manager, we have an area on the border of Texas. And we have, there's like the San Antonio area, Austin, Corpus Christi, middle, central Texas, and then the valley being the border on Mexico. And there was certain demographics that they would keep track of, like these are things to tell how good of a job you are doing in certain areas, certain numbers that you can look at. One of those numbers being employee retention. How many people are you hiring? You have a 6-person staff. How many people are you hiring over the course of a year? And are you keeping people around, or do you have real high turnover because your people are quitting because they don't like you, or you're hiring the wrong people or something? And they did not even use employee retention as a metric to judge the managers in this entire area that we worked in. The reason being because there was no way anybody could hold a lit match to the stores along the valley, along Mexico, because people would come over from Mexico and they got across and they would get a job anywhere in America along the border, and that was it. They were not going to leave. They were going to bust their asses and do whatever was necessary every single day because they were not going to leave that job. It's the most loyal and dependent employees I have ever seen, to the point to where our, the analytics for our jobs that we were doing across Texas were completely skewed as a result of their numbers down in the valley.
Huh. Adios, the good life.
Appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you very much. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. Miss Shannon Naylor and Jason C., thank you guys so much for coming and joining us. I hope you guys are having a good day. We're venting about, Mondays. I'm venting about the holidays. Everybody else here seemed to have a fairly decent time. I'm envious of that, but I did enjoy myself.
Oh.
And Mr. Martin, I got the cat chewing on me over here. Sorry.
That's funny because I've got my 2 dogs pacing back and forth here. My wife had to go to work, so she brought my dogs down, and they're pacing by me constantly. Oh, you got a cat?
They're not barking no more.
Yeah, little Savvy had to get a new cat.
A&J Outdoors did release a video today too. It's not one of those videos that, hey, fishing and all that. It's one of those ones, if you need to change a hub on your trailer or don't know that you need to change a hub on your trailer, check it out.
No. I'm going to take that a different direction. This was one of those videos. The video that John put out today. If you're not subscribed to John, check him out. There's a link there's a link for everybody in the description down below. Today is one of those videos that if you do any fishing at all, if you ever have plans of owning a boat at all, it's one of those videos that you need to go ahead and bookmark, because this is something that if you ever in your life plan on owning a boat, you're going to have to do this task or spend some very serious money avoiding it. If you don't plan on spending that money, you need to bookmark this video for future reference.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was my plan of approach with it.
I'm just going to get John come up and do mine now that he's got experience at it.
I've been doing it for a long time. Yeah, I've got experience, but I'm not cheap.
Yeah.
I like seeing all of the work that he does on that boat, because I'm talking with Rachel about the possibility of buying it in the future, and I want to see all that work done before I do that.
And it's laid out for you now. This is what I've done. Yeah. This is what you'll have to continue doing.
Exactly right.
I was curious, John, when you were doing that. I didn't know that your trailer was a single axle, and you've got a fiberglass boat. Is that heavy duty enough? Because mostly everybody up here that's got boats like you guys, it's on a tandem trailer.
Yeah, if it went up, it's based on the weight of the boat, and I think it's just over 2,000 pounds. If I stepped up to the 20 foot or larger of the Makos, then it would have been a tandem axle. So it's probably the last size where you get a single axle before it steps up to the tandem. And the good thing about that is, it's a lot more expensive to replace 4 hubs, 4 tires when you need 2 new tires. If you got brakes on your trailer, redoing the brakes, typically the 2-axle trailers only have brakes on one axle, but mine has no brakes on it, so I don't have to worry about that.
Is there a different registration fee, or like the taxes or whatever else goes into single axle versus double axle? I'm aware that there's something, but I'm not sure what that is.
I'm not familiar with it. I couldn't tell you.
The only thing that I know of that is different between a single axle and a tandem axle is if I cross the Mackinac Bridge, I got to pay an extra $1.50 because it's an extra axle. That's all I know about as far as any extra fees.
And that's one place, if you ever get up to Michigan, you need to do that. The Mackinac Bridge takes you from the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula, right? Pretty awesome bridge.
It actually crosses that little strait.
Yeah, it's 5 miles long. It crosses the where Lake Michigan and Lake Huron come to a point is St. Edward's, Mackinac City.
I didn't know they had a crossing there.
Yeah, Mackinac Bridge. They built it in 1954. In fact, I've got a couple of friends' dads that worked on that bridge. I wished I had a dime for every time I've crossed it because I started. I think the first time was like in 1963 when I was like 5 years old, and of course then I lived up there for quite a few years. Traveled back down to here to go to college, and then all the other trips just coming back and forth to see family. But it's quite a bridge. It really is.
That's a good point, Jimmy C. and friends making in the comments is when you go through these toll roads, a double axle is going to cost you more than a single axle also. So considerations.
David Martin is asking, John, you got spring leaf or tension?
I got leaf springs.
Yeah, that's what we got on ours. We had a Wellcraft before I did a channel, and that was leaf springs. I think we're using leaf springs on the Sea Hunt also, and that's a dual axle.
And I'm more comfortable with leaf springs. I don't know if it's really better. I had a pop-up trailer back in, I don't know, the early 90s that had the other axle. But leaf springs is something I've dealt with because of being a Jeep person back in the day.
I've done that job.
Leaf spring, so it's pretty easy.
Did you say Jeep or cheap?
Jeep, which they do not correlate to cheap once you start building them. Trust me.
I heard Jeep stands for just enough essential parts.
Maybe when you buy it at first, but when you start putting lifts and lockers and rebuilding transfer cases, and it's like any other hobby. You can start out cheap, just like brewing beer. That was a hobby. Yeah, it's cheap with the little beer kit and that. But when I got to doing full kegging my own beer and built a kegerator, all of a sudden it's like every fishing. I tell everybody I can't afford to hunt in Texas because you got to have a lease and this and that and that. But then I can go buy, a $20-something thousand boat and go spend all this money to go fishing. It's like it's either or. I enjoy fishing.
I was going to say, like, I got into fishing because, historically, we would do that because we would get food. We're putting food on the table. It's pretty good eating food. It's nice. And it's so much cheaper than what you get at the grocery store. $16 a pound for red snapper.
Fresh.
Oh, those are insane prices until you look at what you spend to go get 4 red snapper.
Yep, the gas, the gear, any hobby.
Speaking of which, so if there's any Patreons in here, for anyone who is a Patreon member, thank you so much. You don't even understand the lures that you have bought for me that we've lost this year. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I say the same thing just to subscribers. Y'all just watching the videos have helped me get a new drone, which
anybody who's hit a subscribe button on any of these channels, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You don't really know how much it really means to the person whose videos you're watching. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Even Steve Haulin Ash got a new drone. He ain't flown a son of a gun that he got before Christmas, but he got a drone.
I haven't, and there's 2 youngsters in the chat right here that I'm hoping is going to help me out with that.
Yes,
grandkids, Aiden and Ava. I know they eat that right up. So.
Absolutely, you two need to go over to his house Talk about that drone. Take it out there in the field and just fly it and show him how to fly it. It's not that hard. Download the app. It'll update and just go for it. That's the only way to learn. Remember, this is an inexpensive drone that does not have obstacle avoidance. If you fly it at a tree, it's going to hit that tree. That's the only warning I got for you.
Take that as a challenge.
Now we got the grandkids fighting me. No, me. I will.
Good. Good.
Aiden and Ava, I want to say personally from me, it would be the biggest of favors if you could get that gentleman, get that drone in the air, help him get that thing up, because it would do such wonderful. Like, I can't wait to see that footage. I can't wait to see what he's able to do with a drone. Please, 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 from me to you, help him get that thing in the air.
They'll help me.
Famous now.
They'll help me.
Yeah, then Grandpa has got to take you on the fishing trips because he needs somebody to fly the drone for him.
Yep.
That's the end.
You don't even know how valuable you are doing that.
Yeah.
Shannon says, I love seeing the guys that spend loads of money on a big truck, boat, and tackle, but don't know a lick about fishing. Obviously, she's been watching everybody here.
You know, I joked about it. I think it was in our little group, but there's the demand, and Steve, you said this too. The demand for boats and everything because of COVID has gone through the roof. Everybody, you know, I've never been on a boat in my life, but I'm going to go buy a dang boat because of COVID and spend time out on a lake with people. And so it makes the lakes a little more treacherous. The boat ramps a little more crazy. But for somebody who's selling a boat at the time, it makes it a little easier to sell said boat. But somebody
if you're looking to
buy a
sell
boat, yeah, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, if you're looking to sell a boat, at least up here, you'll get a premium for it. But trying to buy the new one, I've got a couple of friends that are looking for new boats. They recently retired. They want to get their retirement boat. Can't get it. Just cannot get it. And it doesn't matter if it's a fiberglass or an aluminum boat. You just can't get it right now up here.
Yeah,
I'm looking down you guys' way.
The kind of boats I'm looking at, most of them I'm seeing are in Florida. So it's already in the plans. I'll probably either have to pay somebody to transport from Florida to here or go to Florida and get it, decide which is cheaper, you know.
I would be interested in having that conversation. Anything gets me to Florida.
You got to hope the hubs are good enough to make it back to Texas.
Right.
You're right, Grant, and that's a whole nother thing. We want to talk about buying boats. When you get to boats at that level, I'm looking used too. You probably need to get a survey done, which costs some money, and the buyer has to do it. But the last thing you want to do is spend $50,000 or so on a boat that you get home and there's something wrong with the motors. There's something wrong with the transom. There's something wrong. The floor's rotted out. The keel's cracked. Those kind of things that you just can't, look at a bunch of pictures and say, oh, yeah, it looks great. I'm in Texas. You're in Florida. Send it to me. I'll pay you. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of
a buddy of ours did that. He got a boat a couple years ago. We did a snapper video a couple years ago. He was in there sparingly. He wasn't like, I didn't have him sign waivers and stuff, so he wasn't really in the video, but he's there. Anyway, the gentleman bought a really, really nice boat, dual outboard, the smallest boat you can get with a dual outboard for going offshore.
Nice.
And I think he was only ever able to use that boat like 3-4 times because it was a lemon. And he sold it after 2 years, 4 trips. He sold it, bought land to go do hunting and stuff like that. And we're trying to figure out a deal where we can, trade hunting and fishing trips and stuff like that. But man, I heard when he sold that boat, that hurts my heart hearing that. He had to go through that nonsense on what looked like a really wicked, awesome boat, the kind of boat that I want to get. Hurts.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be real careful.
Drone talk real quick. We got Mr. Jason C. says, I don't drive very good. Definitely wouldn't do me good to fly a drone. Peter says, where is he? Drone talk. What kind of drone? Oh, Steve, what kind of drone did you get? You want to tell the backstory on that?
I'll let John tell that story since it was his.
So last year I got the brand new Mavic, DJI Mavic Mini. right? And that was my drone for the past year. And then this year, the Mavic Mini 2 came out. I'll be posting a video in the next few weeks why I upgraded from the Mini to the Mini 2. But in the process, I sold my Mini for a stellar price to Steve.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Steve has the Mini 1, which if you looked at any of my past videos with drone footage, that's what it was. And then I've now have the Mavic Mini 2, which I have done some local stuff, but I haven't had a fishing video yet with it. But I'm hoping that changes this weekend with me and my buddies on a fishing trip. So we'll see.
I got to make a comment here. I just see Aiden popped up. He says, I've always told Papa that I want to fish with A&J Outdoors and Grant McIntosh. That's true. He has said it. And now that he's been able to watch one with Stanley Orchard, he's probably going to want to go down and fish with Stanley Orchard too.
Road trip.
Yeah, I'm going to make this deal, and this is one that Peter Orchard in the Peter Orchard Studios. That's my brother. He's been my go-to guy on this, but I'm going to say this straight out. I need if you make your way down here and you have spent time with Haulin Ash flying that drone, you are invaluable to me. I could use some drone time. I've got a drone. I cannot get that thing in the air. I don't have the time, the expertise, the knowledge, or the patience to get that thing in the air. So if that is something that you can do and you're down in my area, then we need to talk.
Did you see what Stanley said, the 4 things, the time, patience, expertise? That's me right here. I don't have them either.
Yeah.
I don't.
Hey, Grant, you got one too, don't you? Everybody here has a drone?
I have not bought a drone yet.
I've seen drone footage of you, though.
Mm-mm.
Yes, I have. That hammock video.
Oh, that was a borrow.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's the other way of doing it. That's even with the drone, I still get Peter to film my drone footage for me because I got that thing in the air like twice.
Yeah. Aiden, I would love to say I caught my first walleye in Michigan on your grandpa's boat. I would love to.
That would be cool.
We got to make that happen, Grant. We got to get you up here.
Anybody there in June. That's all I can say.
Anybody I put in my boat usually gets walleye, except for
you got a nice drum.
David Martin. I don't remember what FLIR stands for. Remind me real quick.
FLIR. We need to get David Martin to make some videos. He has just started snaring rabbits up there in Newfoundland.
Ooh, Newfoundland. Nice. We don't have many people from that area.
FLIR is thermal imaging.
I think we talked about this last week, actually. I don't know. If it's something you have to do to the camera, I would say it's unlikely. If it's something you can mount on the drone, the challenge would be the weight of it, the drone being able to fly with any extra weight on it. And 2, legally, the Mini and the Mini 2 are both 249 grams. That's so that you don't have to register them with the FAA. If it's 250 grams or above, you have to register it. So they did that on purpose. Once you add something to it, if it's more than 1 gram, which 1 gram isn't much, then you step into that whole can of worms here in the U.S.
And that's international. I don't know the rules, but I know everybody's got their rules about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick here, Hoosier Back Outdoors, sir. Appreciate you coming and joining us. How are you doing, man? Yeah, I'm hoping to see a collaboration very soon between Stanley Orchard, between my channel here and Hoosier Back Outdoors. Stay tuned on that. I'm curious I need to know if he's accepting the footage or not. I don't know if he did. And also, I got to say, talking about international law with drones and stuff like that, I'm going to be outright honest, particularly with everything that's going on in the last couple of weeks. So I took the drone down to Mexico because I wanted some insane Cozumel Caribbean drone footage, and I didn't get that thing in the air. I was on there was too many people around, and I was like, I don't know the rules, and I got really timid thinking about the concerns about the weight limits and where you can fly these things. And they actually have signs posted around town saying you can't fly a drone here. And I got scared, and I ended up putting it away, and I did not film down there. I apologize, but at the same time, I'm like, man, that's the last thing I need with everything else going on.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got in conversation about that. Well, Stanley, you missed it, so I'll breach it real quick. But there have been YouTubers that have been contacted by the FAA. When you fly a drone, if it's for commercial purposes, you have to get a drone license, which
Yes, you have to be a pilot.
and they consider YouTube videos that are monetized as a commercial interest. Take that as you will. I know this year I'm going to look into the process to get my drone pilot license just so I don't have to worry about it.
So is it the video that can't be monetized? I mean, or do they take away the monetization of your channel if you do it?
I would assume, and again, this is an assumption, that any video with drone footage. So if your video doesn't have drone footage, you probably could monetize and be fine. But if you put drone footage in it, then that's where. And also, I'll say they're not hunting people down on YouTube. Is the information from drone gurus. However, the YouTubers that have been contacted, it's believed that it's someone else sees them doing it and says that's not right, and Karens them and contacts the FAA on them. So maybe up in Michigan you might not have an issue. I don't know. Here's my stand now. I'm going to fly my drone and use the footage. I plan to get my license this year. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
In my response to that, looking at it from the YouTube standpoint, they're not going to demonetize your channel for drone footage. They're not. The FAA is not going to attack your YouTube channel. So whatever they're going to do is probably worse.
Yeah.
David Martin says FLIR is a very small thing. You can actually have FLIR for your cell phone. If you can have it for your cell phone, the camera on the Mavic, it's a camera, but it operates through your phone. So I assume if you can get FLIR on your phone, you can use that FLIR through the camera on the drone.
I would think it would have to deal with the app because you're using an app, a DJI Fly app, to fly the drone and do everything drone-ish. So I would assume that it would have to be something that meshes with their app, and I haven't even looked into that.
Here's another one that he says, I'd love to fly it over the hills here from the porch to look for moose and wolves, bears, etc. Gentlemen, everybody else here, I think we're on the same page. You cannot do that. Is that right?
You cannot harass wildlife, but at what point is it low enough to harass them versus flying it at 300 feet and they don't even know it's there? There's plenty of footage out there on regular television even of that is from a drone over a moose or something. So I think that's a fine line. Now there are places, Padre Island National Seashore, that says you cannot fly drones at all because we don't want to interfere with someone else's enjoyment of the beach. There's drone flying around, and we don't want to mess with the birds, right?
Yeah.
So I think
you can't use it for fishing.
You
can't use it to scout fish to see where schools of fish are, as I recall.
I think
there's a rule on that.
I think there's a rule on that, but I think it'd be hard to prove. I was flying and I saw a fish. That doesn't mean I was scouting for fish, unless they actually saw me flying it, see the fish, and then go there and fish for the fish. So that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. The other thing about flying over the hills and stuff, they're like this new Mini. I'm going to put it in the video, but it can fly with the system it has now. It can fly 6 miles away from you without losing contact. But the law is you have to have line of sight. So I have to be able to see that drone. Shit, that thing gets 500 feet away from me. It's kind of hard to see that little bitty thing. I know over a mile, I would not have line of sight. So,
Yeah, hey, Peter says, because I've played this game. He says, just play Ignorant American regarding drone rules in Mexico. I've played Ignorant American on some of the, like going to a bar, riding the bull, having a bunch of drinks with the boys, and throwing up out on the curb. That's a fine line that you're walking. And when it comes to FAA or whatever the Mexican version of the FAA is, I don't know if that's where I want to play that game.
I will say I had one experience as crossing the border into Mexico from San Diego with some other. This is back when I was in the military and a bunch of GIs, and we did something involving alcohol, and we ended up paying off the Mexican police to let us get the hell out of Mexico and go back to the U.S. So they play by different rules, and sometimes it's their own rules.
Exactly.
You walk away without a drone or any money you had in your wallet. So I wouldn't do that one.
I have not experienced that, but I've heard so many stories of people saying exactly what you said, where basically the bottom line is you break the rules. Well, it doesn't matter because they're the ones writing the rules, and they get to write them at their will. When they want to rewrite the rules, they get to, and it's going to come at the expense of your pocketbook.
Cartel FAA. That's a good one. Who's the back?
I can't help
that you're not monetized. You can use the footage all you want, right? It's the minute you make money off of it, they consider it commercial. So yeah, you're good if you're not monetized.
And there's ways to get around. I'm not going to say that on camera. There's things you can do.
If I'm doing a video like the upcoming fishing trip and I shoot it and somebody reports it and they come to me, I'll just go back and demonetize it. But based on the experience of a fellow YouTuber that dealt with them, they're not like we're coming here to hammer you. They want to educate you, and then they expect you to follow through with doing the right thing, which, for him was he went and got his license. So.
But if you knew a guy that had a license, you could always say he's the one that was flying the drone.
Right. Or as a YouTuber, like
proving who was flying it. Unless in your video there's you sitting there
controlling it on the boat.
Have that in there. But if that's not in there, yes, that's an art. If it went to that level, that's an argument you could make is I wasn't flying it, so-and-so was, and if so-and-so says, yeah, I was flying his drone, they're going to have a hard time proving anything.
Or if you can't give them a name. Because that's the argument, that's the approach that I would take. If somebody asked me about my drone footage, I would say, oh, well, I bought some footage off a dude, or I pulled it off of Creative Commons, which I would assume is an escape clause. I don't know. But they're going to want to see, okay, you got it from Creative Commons.
Yeah.
Whose channel I want to see.
Yeah.
They're going to follow that up, and I can't verify that. So
that would be a challenge.
Yeah.
Hey, some dude was flying a drone while I was fishing, and I asked him if I could have some of the footage for my channel, and he gave it to me on a SIM card, and I'm good. You know what I mean? There's so many, but for me, it's just easier just to, they'll say, hey, John, you're flying a drone and making money. You got a license? Here's my license. Oh, okay. Move along.
Well, here we go. Right here, I'm just going to say this is somebody who's got a little bit of expertise and a little bit of knowledge in the area of flying drones, fishing on YouTube, and all of that other fun stuff. Darcizzle Offshore, it is an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, and please, for the entirety of whatever time we have with you, we want to take advantage of it. I'm sorry I'm going to put you to task. Please let us know. You're saying that they don't follow up on all of that. What information you got for us? Like, what is it we need to be concerned about when we're flying drones? I'm saying this because I took a drone down to Mexico. We went down to the Yucatan to film, and it was heinous and horrendous, but I won't retell that whole story. I took a drone, and I ended up not putting the thing in the air because I was kind of, concerned about people being around me, and I was concerned about the regulations down there. Didn't think about it until I was there. So what are your thoughts on that? Should I have flown it? Am I stupid for not getting that footage? What would you have done? You're always on the list, and I'm dying to hear what you got for us. Any 2 cents you got, we would be very happy to get it from you. I'm wondering if it was dumb, if I should have just taken the footage and just taken my lumps.
I think I would have.
You think you would have?
I mean, you're in Mexico. How bad can Mexico jail be? I mean,
shit.
Go down and find out, Grant. Tell
Grant,
us.
you have not been to Mexico?
I have not.
Have you ever seen those? What? There's a whole TV series about busted overseas or something.
Yeah, Stranded Abroad. Isn't that what it's called? I do not want to be on that show. Of all the shows I want to be on, that ain't it.
You got a little spoon and you're trying to dig a hole through the wall to get out of your Mexican jail cell. That's not a good thing.
and mind you that at this point I was sans computer. I had no computer. I had phones taken on water. I was down a camera, and I'd lost 2 bank cards. I was living off of a single credit card while I was down there. My back was already against a wall on this one.
Yeah, you didn't have enough to pay off the local police. You were going to the can.
I didn't have cash. I did not have cash to pay, and I doubt those guys are running around with a little square card reader, you know.
My wife and I went on our first cruise for our 25th anniversary. I says, I'm not getting off the ship. I'm staying on. First port was, I don't even remember. It was in Mexico somewhere. And she says, oh, come on. You got to get off the boat. You got to get off the cruise line. You got to go enjoy it. All right. So we get off and we're walking up. And the first thing we see is 4 armed guards dressed head to toe, black, ARs, bandoliers. I thought, crap, I want to go back on the boat. It was a scary experience right off the bat.
Oh, they were laughing at you at the bar that night.
Yeah. Get the heck out of that American.
Darcizzle says when we go out of country, we always check the regs, the Bahamas particularly. I should have. I am fairly up to date with that kind of stuff. I've been to Mexico so many times, I did not even think about it. Never taken a drone down there before. When I literally pulled the drone out. I was sitting there down on the coast about to launch the thing, and then got a flood of of thoughts of all of the bad things that could occur if I got just one thing wrong on this flight, you know? So it's the only time we've ever gotten called out is flying in a federal park. Yeah, I've experienced that one. Some dude called. He was very nice and said, "Hey, Puddin', you got to get a permit to fly." And yeah, of course they're nice to you. I don't get the nice.
We're talking to Puddin'.
I assume this is Puddin'. I'm not sure.
Well, he said it in the comments. So
okay, it's Puddin'.
We're good.
Well, Brian, sir, appreciate you, man. I thank you very much for joining us, regardless.
All right, so
that's my thought on it.
Free
I got
app,
scared.
at least in the States. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So before you fly, and what it does is it shows you, like the little black dot is me, and the colored areas are areas that have restrictions. And some restricted areas you can still fly, but there's stipulations about height and stuff like that. But it's a free app that you can download. Also for DJI that I have, it also gives you warnings when you go to fly. Before you take off, it'll tell you if you're in a certain area, and it makes you check a box saying, I don't give a shit, I'm going to fly anyway type thing, and go up and fly. So there are things out there stateside to help you. Now, if you're in Mexico, I don't think there's an app. I think you need to, and be honest.
I don't know.
To be honest with you, it could be completely legal to fly there, but at the polls I come up and they say, we're getting this gringo right here, you know.
See, and that's just it. And there's also other issues that I was concerned about. I was like, you know, I was parking on the side of the road. Is this a red flag that somebody's going to come up and try to tow my vehicle and try to, you know? It's not that bad. It's not like those things, you know, occur all the time, but they do happen. If somebody they see me flying a drone and they want to take advantage, that's a perfect time to do it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that waves a red flag for me.
Yeah. Try to be legal and everything. And then when you can, plead ignorance.
Yeah, and I'm going to be more educated. We're going to do this again. We're talking about going back this summer because we just love it down there. We're going to do it again, and I will be more educated going forward because that is the bottom line. That's what I need. Team Jesus Outdoors. First up, I got to say that is a rad channel name. Appreciate you joining us.
It is.
He says, Steve, I am tying stringers while enjoying this discussion. That is rad. That is, I wanted to hear everybody. That would be my goal in life, to be sitting here and live streaming like this and have everybody talking about how they're like tying on their leaders and doing all their stuff in preparation for their next trip while watching this. That is awesome.
The story to that, Stanley, is the other day, his name is John, Team Jesus Outdoors. His name is John. He put out a video. He's a fellow walleye fisherman, fishes the Detroit River, Lake Erie area, Saginaw Bay too. So as I'm watching his video, I'm tying some crawler harnesses. And so I made in the comments, I said, enjoy the movie or the video. Truly, I am tying crawler harnesses as we speak. So that's a little backstory to that. I want to say welcome to Pete Pappas, another fellow that I fish with, or I haven't fished with him yet. I fished with his buddy, Justin, made a video with Justin. I'm going to get out with Pete. He catches some monster size walleye on the Detroit River, and I'm gonna get out with him one of these days soon. So just wanted to shout those two guys out.
Absolutely. David Martin asks, John, what app is that you're using to show the drone stuff? And also, Brian, hey, from Darcy's Offshore, appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming to join us. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I replied to him. It's Before You Fly, so it's right there in the chat if you guys, anybody else interested in it. You recommend you have that, whatever app you use to fly your drone, and some type of wind finder app is pretty useful too.
You know, go ahead.
There is an app, because when I got the drone from John, I asked, what do you do? And one is called Drone Buddy, and that's kind of the wind app. And then the other one for my drone, and what was his, is DJI Fly. But the Drone Buddy will tell you what the wind conditions are, and it will tell you where the nearby airports are. I have gotten that far with it, John.
Good job.
Yeah.
Some progress.
He's ready. He's just got to press power on.
Yeah.
And watch it fly into a tree or my house.
Yep. And that is the footage that I'm waiting to see. I'm not going to lie.
I will tell you this, no matter what, I'm going to put the SD card in, and whatever I get, if it crashes, it crashes. You're all going to see it regardless.
If it crashes, talk to me. Let me know. Get all the footage you can, and we're going to put together a shorts for you, and we're going to try to get you some subscribers.
At the cost of a drone.
Lemonade, man. Lemonade.
Yeah, Bell videos do pretty good most of the time.
Yep. Yeah. I would probably go so far as to say those probably do better than a regular video. Like if you fail good enough, it's all about how well you fail.
Yeah. True. Yep. Who's your back outdoors? Got to run. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming and hanging out, man. Pete Papa says, thanks. The walleye fishing this spring will be record-breaking in terms of numbers this year. Can't wait. That is really awesome to hear, because we're also talking about making another trip to Wisconsin.
Come on up.
I'm hoping it's going to be similar. Although I can't get my hands on these trips that Rachel keeps planning. She spearheads this stuff. I can't get my hands on like getting out of her what's purvey, whatever that's called.
When you get to Wisconsin, you're really not that far. As long as you've made the trip from Texas to Wisconsin, another 4 hours, you could be here.
Yeah.
So think about that.
We got totally taken over. And it's the same way with everything. And it's fun. Like I let it happen. I don't let it happen. It happens and it's awesome. I'm fine with it. It's an adventure every time. But, we go up there and we're like, there are 50,000 things that we can do now that we are up here. And when you finally get up there and you have the jet or the drive lag from the first day, plus the family has all kinds of plans that you weren't aware of, plus, but there's a storm this day, so you got to double up the next day, everything going on. Rachel's side of the family has a tendency of really cramming as much as is physically possible into a trip. Makes it hard to deviate. But yeah, I need to get and the Cozumel was the exact same thing. Like I could not deviate from the plans. I'm getting better about that stuff, but at the same time, like I said, it's always an adventure. You never know what direction any of this stuff is going to go.
Pete Pappas, I'm curious, is there a reason why the walleye fishing would be any better than it was previous years? For me, I'm expecting a great crappie fishing in February, March. Last year, our main lake was closed because of COVID. It was closed March and April. And it's also closed November, December, January because of duck season. Well, last year it was closed for duck season. Then it was closed for COVID. The year before, the lake was full of water. Normally, during duck season, they draw the lake real far down. So right after they open it back up, the shallows are dry, so you catch all the crappie in the deep water. So for 2 years now, it's been either closed or deep water. So this year, the water is drawn down again. So after duck season, I'm expecting to have a pretty good crappie season.
That's some big numbers right there Pete just put up.
150 million?
In Erie right now, record numbers. Wow.
Damn.
See, John, we could get you a walleye if you just would go on Erie with me.
I've caught walleye in the Saginaw Bay unless I've been with you.
I'm never going to let you.
I had to tow my own boat all the way to Saginaw from Texas and catch walleye, and then I go out with you and I don't get a walleye.
I'm gonna tease you for as long as I can on that one. That's a lot of walleye.
So hold on a second. What I'm hearing with this is that if you're a YouTuber who wants to go, or a fisherman in general, I say YouTuber, that's dumb. If you're going to go catch some walleye, I'm guessing this spring would be the epitomal time to go and do that.
Not Saginaw Bay. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, June. Spring is different up there than it is down here.
Right now, I just read a post before I got on. Somebody asked about Detroit River. Can I go jigging in the Detroit River right now? Yeah, you can go jigging in Detroit River anytime you want to. Pete would probably answer this better because that's where he is all the time. But they do come up in the river at certain times of the year, more populated than they are other times. And the spring fishing season is usually the best time to hit the Detroit River and the Saginaw River. But you can still get fish to like right now if you were going to go there. But they just seem to migrate up into the Detroit River on their way up into Lake St. Clair. And that just seems to be the pattern. Pete, add to that if you would, please.
So where's that?
What's that?
Where's that 150 million come from? Is that what they've released or what they suspect has been hatched?
That I don't know. That Pete would know that one. But what I guess I should have said is like they're in Lake Erie, and then they'll migrate up into the Detroit River. Big migration like, and that's when the best time to be jigging walleye on the Detroit River is in the spring. But you can catch them anytime.
Okay.
Team Jesus says Detroit River is like the Dead Sea right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he just went down and made a video the other day, and he said that's the very same thing. Yeah, it's dead. But there are guys out there, they say, yeah, you can catch them year round. I wouldn't go, not till spring.
And no stocking in Erie, all natural reproduction.
Okay, so that's an estimation of on. Gotcha.
Probably based on, they go and do their surveys. It's probably based on that. Grill surveys, sometimes net surveys.
So is that the result of like the pandemic, people not being able to get out, or is this just like a fluke?
I don't have an answer for that.
I don't know.
Clue.
Around
it could be
here,
either way.
All I can tell you is that the numbers keep getting bigger. The fishing keeps getting better here. There was a time that, I would go fishing all day long, and if I caught 2 walleye, wow, man, I did really good. And it's just, of course, that's when I lived in the Upper Peninsula, but that's well known for walleye fishing now too. But there was a time that it was really booming, and then it went downhill, and now it's on its way back up.
I know I was there in the 80s, early 80s, before I joined the Army and went away, and we didn't catch walleye in Saginaw Bay. It was perch fishing. Matter of fact, Au Gres was known as the perch capital of the world, yellow perch, not perch like you know of, Stanley, down here.
Pinfish.
Every small fish a perch, but and you've been to Wisconsin, so you know what a real perch is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would fill 5-gallon buckets full of perch. And then I come back, years later, and it's like it's hard to find a perch, but man, there's walleye everywhere. I was like, what the heck happened? But for Saginaw Bay and Lake Huron, at least, I know they stocked walleye, among other things. So that's pretty neat to hear about Lake Erie, but that's so far down from Au Gres. I'm probably not going to make that run, Steve.
Pete Pappas says the Erie walleye population all depends on spawn success. Sport fishermen have zero effect on Erie. I kind of hear that like in every single area. Like we talk about sport fishermen with red snapper down here, how they have zero impact and effect on the population. And yet I've seen people fish out a fishing spot, but I'm playing devil's advocate with that argument.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have Hooked Up and Backlashed. Appreciate you. I tell you what, we're winding down. We're on our last 2 minutes here of the live stream. We're going a little bit long today. I know it did go fast. I just looked at it right now and I'm like, man, we're already over the 1 hour mark.
We started early.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like we're just about to hit 6 o'clock. So technically we still got a couple of minutes. We did start early, but it is that time, gentlemen. What do we have going on in the near future? What are the plans? What are the videos we have coming out? And give me some positive reinforcement for what is going to go on for the rest of this week. I want to know that at least my favorite YouTubers in the world have something for me to enjoy with everything else going on this week. What do you got, John, starting with you?
All right, so the hub video out today. You won't care about that until you need to replace your hub, and then go check it out.
Save it.
Me and Joel and Shay hitting Choke Canyon Friday. We'll see what happens, but we're going to be there for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday. So that's what I'm getting prepared for right now. Other than that, February, visiting family, Florida Keys. There's going to be some fishing. Hopefully there's some good video from that. And that's the immediate future for us for 2021.
Mr. Haulin Ash, what you got, sir?
The only thing that pops to mind, I'm not really going to get out and do any ice fishing for a while, and I'm not really going to get out and do any open water fishing. But Pete Pappas and his partner have a tackle company. It's called Erie Advantage Tackle Company, custom tackle. And I want to go down and make a video of those guys making video. Boy, I can speak tonight. I want to make a video of those guys making jigs and plastics and the products that they make and they sell. So I want to get to that at some point, whenever Pete's ready, but I'm hoping like in maybe within a couple weeks.
There is not enough of that going on. I look forward to seeing that. Making lures is something that I find, and tackle in general, all of that, everything you're talking about right there, something I'm super intrigued about. I look forward to seeing the video that you got on that. Mr. Grant McIntosh, I know that you have the stuff that you got going on with you, but I am still going to push you a little bit. I'm very curious. Please tell me you got something in the pipeline for us.
I have not edited. I have not even looked at our duck hunting footage.
Wow.
I need to. I know we got 2 more weeks of duck season. It goes out on the 23rd. We do have a permit this Saturday. We haven't had any fresh ducks. They're all staying on the refuge. This past Saturday, we never even fired a shot. So we'll see.
What would it take to get a little drone footage of them ducks hanging out there in the refuge if you can't shoot them?
No doubt. Pro Team Bass, good to see you.
Mi amigos, hola, y cómo está? Gentlemen are out of Spain. Go ahead. What you got?
I was going to say I did see some photos from one of the Facebook groups I'm in for waterfowl from Port Aransas this weekend.
Yeah.
Son, we need to get on a duck hunt down there.
Grant, dude, I'm telling you, dude, I've been trying to get you down here with me for years. I keep talking about fishing. I didn't know that duck hunting was the thing I needed to try to bait you in, but we got that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about it. I can't guide you on that.
Yeah, it's for it too.
There you go.
Esprio Team Bass says, utilizo el traductor para entenderos. Yo sabe, no traductor para aquí. Lo siento, necesito para comments. I don't know how to say comments in Spanish. Lo siento, mi amigos, pero muchas gracias. Farmstead Smith says, today no one's been stung. She does beekeeping, by the way. Too cold for the bees here. Too cold for the rest of us. I am freezing. I do not do 30-degree anything in Texas. Haven't been stung since the bees yet.
That's pretty good.
So on that note, I don't got much for you. I will say for anybody who's watching, still hanging out with us here, it's going to be a couple of weeks before I'm able to put any footage out because of the heinousness that was Mexico. Keep your fingers crossed. Please say some prayers that I'm able to collect that footage from Mexico. Oh, because that would really, really hurt if I lost half of my content down there. I'm just going to say that. I hope everybody has a wonderful 2021. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was an absolute blast. This is something that I really needed, and I thank you very much for persevering with me being gone for the last couple of weeks. I hope you all have...
Next week?
Steve?
No, I just did mine last week. Mine was last week with Darren. It's not my turn.
John.
Yeah.
John is... Okay. So... if you haven't already subscribed, these gentlemen, all of their channels are listed in the description down below. You can check them out. Next week is going to be Mr. John with A&J Outdoors. We kind of switch this up every Monday afternoon. It's a great way to decompress after Monday because we all know it's rough. We all enjoy our weekends. Speaking of which, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I want to thank you very much for joining us. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video next Monday over on Mr. A&J Outdoors channel. Have a wonderful week, and thank you for joining us.
Peace out.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.
Good night. Have a great week.